it's always good to be coming up with your little pitch, social pitch. So
social pitch, what is that?
A social pitch is obviously someone's going to go, what do you do? So you want to have something to say.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're like, oh, I'm just here and checking it out, right? But obviously, like, I run a business, so I want it to really have a sentence. And this is why it's kind of like a bit of an art form. It's like, you don't want to be too long that they're what do you do? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and I'm back with my mentee and good friend Sharleen.
Hi.
And in the previous video, we were talking about starting an online business, and we explored the different ways that you can start and the ones that we failed, and talking about the outsourcing business. But you're going through the real experience here where you're actually exploring how to start an online business. And one of your main questions for me was around, like, how do I get myself out there, building a personal brand. So I thought I'd bring her back on, ask me any questions around personal branding, whatever you like to ask, so that we can share with the audience.
First things first, for someone like me who thought it's not necessary at all, why is it important to do anyway? Why can't it just be in the shadows?
Well, unfortunately in business, it's about serving your customers so that you could make money and have the lifestyle you want. And customers mean people. That means people need to know who you are. And so unfortunately, if you want to succeed in life, in business, for example, you just need to know more people, because it's people who are you are offering your value to, and then they're paying you money. And so it's one of those things where I also felt I had to overcome. So I was very shy. I didn't like videos. I didn't like any of those things. Everything that I am now is something I had to develop. I realized, I'm like, well, there's only one way. Get out there and start learning to public speak. Get out there and network so that you could actually build a brand or get people to know you. And so, the short answer is that you can't be in the shadow unless you work for someone, partner with someone who's going to be on the front face of it. But I think it's always going to be it's one of those skill set where I feel like if you're going to want to learn a skill of selling yourself, that will take you everywhere. You can sell anything, you can be anything. But if you depend on someone else to sell, like, you know, imagine you're partnering with someone and that person has all the selling skill. That means you're very dependent too, right? And they're gone.
Depending on the person.
They're gone. You don't know what to sell to.
No, I don't know what to do. That's very interesting. Okay. What difficulties did you have trying to do that? What is the first thing you did trying to change yourself from being a shy person?
So I've actually taken public speaking class because, you know, when I was younger, I would always try to push myself and learn to speak in front of classes. But then I also felt that one area that people say is, like, if you sell one-on-one, it's limited, but if you could sell to more people, it'll be even easier. So I also thought about, okay, maybe one day I might do like a seminar or speak in front of more people. And so I actually went and learned the skills of public speaking. And so when you learn something, you kind of understand the structure better, and you understand why, and it kind of gives you more confidence in doing it, right? And so I did feel like it made a difference. But then at the end of the day, it's all about practice. It's just like getting out there. You know, when you're going to a seminar or going to events, put your hand up. Even though you're a bit shy, you don't want people to see you. It's just through all those little practices that, you know, you end up developing. And so the other thing I did was, not only did I go to networking events and just talk to people and just push myself and say hello to people, I also even created my own networking events. So my own meetup. So you can go to meetup.com and create your own event, and you get to be the host of it. And somehow it sounds scary, but it's actually even better, because think about it. They're coming to your event. That means they're looking at you. And that's how I started to get some of my clients. Helped me to develop my agency was when I had my nail polish business and I had these events. They were like, what do you do? Because they were curious. You know, I created an event and I happened to be the host. So they all wanted to say thank you for the event, and they wanted to know me more. Versus you attending an event also meant that you would need to go and meet people one by one. Versus you being the main person, and it kind of
everyone's
attracted.
coming to you. That's great. Did you ever have any fallbacks? What was the journey for change for you like? And what would you do if you have a setback? I don't know, maybe you choke up and don't know what to say. How did you deal with that?
I always would feel hot and shaky, and I could see it, and I would, you know, when I'm done, I'm like looking to see if people notice that I was shy. And you know what? All those fears, like, and I also used to believe that some people are just made to be a public speaker, made to be in front of the spotlight. But that's actually a myth. Majority of them who I've asked were all shy, actually. So it kind of gave me comfort that it's all a developed skill. You know, and even this video right now, I can share with you my old videos and you'll be like, okay. And so the setback is that, yes, you're not perfect. It sounds horrible and you feel like crap. And look, I didn't just continue on that journey smoothly. I would start and I stopped, you know, like let's say when I started doing some videos, I did some and then I stopped for a while. And so I'm just here to encourage you, try to stay longer than me, you know, because I do regret. I'm like, if I push through and just continue developing the skill set I know is necessary, I would have even succeeded even faster and I would have been confident even earlier.
Wow, that's very interesting. That's very good. So when you get to a place and you put your hand up and you put yourself out there, is it up to you to initiate, or how do you deal with that back and forth between the two people? Because both have to kind of have a back and forth between each other.
Is this like just talking when you're networking with someone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That first initial conversation you have.
Yeah. So when it comes to getting yourself out there, there's an offline version and an online version.
Yeah.
When you're new to business, the cheapest way and fastest way is actually getting out there and meeting people, because that means they met you, they like and trust you. It's just there. When it's online, it takes a lot of more content for you to publish, and then people still don't really know you until you actually have to turn the online format into something physical. So this is what I was sharing before, where you might post some things online, but then you should actually ask them, hey, let's jump on Zoom and get to know each other.
Okay.
Because otherwise you'll never really got to know each other.
So you have to take the online and bring it offline.
Yes.
Be more personable.
At the end of the day, it's like you can't sell to someone or you can't create that connection without really connecting. You know, you could just hide behind the keyboard and feel like, oh, well, I've got my content out there. They kind of know me.
Yeah.
But it's not that. Now, let's go back to your question about having that conversation.
Yeah.
Let's just say you're networking. You don't have to get along with everyone. And I'm sure in events, there's some people that you go, oh, I can walk away now. And it's okay. But yes, you do have to initiate. You know, there are times when I prefer to actually go alone, because when you go with a friend or go with people you know, then guess what? You stick to who you know.
Yes.
You're just there. And then you're like, oh, I'm all right here. Yeah. But when you're alone, you're forced to go and find a new group of people to talk to. And so, yes, you just be yourself. Like I'm saying, don't act like you're some professional person. Just
all polished.
Yeah, all polished. Yeah. The more vulnerable you are, the more like real you are, the more they just will remember you, or just feel like the wall's down. You know, like I would joke about, I don't know, find something that you can build rapport with. Maybe they're talking about their husband and you might joke about your own husband and tease him and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that.
So this isn't only professional. No, I'm bringing a bit of my personal self.
So my style has always been, you get what you see. You know, Lynn is Lynn and I don't have to pretend. And that's how I feel like people connect with me more. I feel like they are closer to me faster. But I know sometimes people are, especially, you know, having worked in corporate life and feeling they have to be professional, then they're just too professional, then the wall is always there. And so I feel like, and this is the lesson I learned from a good manager that I was working with, where she showed me that you could be a manager and be very smart and knowledgeable, but yet so personal that I was like, it's okay to share be personal and show me your side as a human being, you know, that you make the same mistakes as me, that you have funny stories like me. And that's how you build rapport. But in those networking events, if you just feel like they are just not reciprocating, you know, like you're talking, you're asking questions and they're like giving you one word answer, you just politely go, oh, well, it's great to meet you anyway. And you walk away. But one key tip I would say is always exchange your details, you know. And what I mean is, like, nowadays, are you on Facebook or are you on LinkedIn? Just add each other. And then after you add each other, it's a follow-up. There's no point in meeting these people. The goal isn't to collect cards. The goal is to actually build the connection.
Relationship.
Relationship. So then I would normally, message back the next day and go, it was so great to meet you. And then, you know, try to stay in touch. And look, the more busier you are, it's harder. But when you're new in business, there's more you can do. Go deeper rather than go wider.
So when now I'm calling them after the event, what am I calling them for? Is this a Zoom meeting? Is this a coffee? And what are we talking about during that, you know, maybe second meetup offline now?
So obviously you have an idea if you met someone, if they are going to be, I would say, there's some synergy there, right? But you might not be sure. It might be that you're really unsure. But guess what? Don't treat them like I have to gain something from them. It's really like, you know what? They were really nice. And they seem like helpful or knowledgeable, or they seem to be in the area that I'm in. especially because you already met them in person.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to now go, hey, let's jump on Zoom or let's catch up for a coffee one-on-one.
Yeah.
So that we get to know each other. But if you're on LinkedIn and it's just been online, then you will have to take longer. Just because you've connected with them doesn't mean you go, hey, let's have a Zoom call right now and have a coffee. Yeah. You might need time to just let them, consume your content. You support their comments and their, posts for a while until you're like, hey, we've been connected for a while. Would you like to chat? So you kind of play a different game, not playing a game, but you got to treat it differently.
From online and offline.
Yes, because if I met you in person and we had a long conversation, it would have felt very different. Yeah. Right? Compared to you just met someone online and they added you and you added them. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, let's catch up for a coffee. Yeah. That's too full on. Yes. Yes. It's sometimes when people do that, when they just added me and then straight away they pounce on the message, I kind of feel, whoa, I feel like they want something straight away.
And how do you back off, candidly or diplomatically from a person who's like that? Say you've been at a networking event and someone is already very clearly showing you that they're only after something and not really building a relationship. How do you deal with those kind of situations?
There's always polite ways to say thank you so much, but I'm a bit busy or I'm not interested. And I always believe in treating people with respect. Even people where I feel like they're not my type, they're wanting something, I would still be polite and go, it was great to meet you too and thanks. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, I see everything as a long-term game, everyone, you just never know who they know. You never know where things will become. Yeah. And I have friends who I'm in business with now, but I met them 8 years ago. And then all those years, nothing really happened because we had different interests. But then now something came up for that. And I still have people that I met when I was in my startup days. Right. That when they message me and they say, I've seen your journey and, and I really inspired, whatever, I still would give them time because I still want to remember that time when I was starting out and you were there with me. And I don't see anyone as being worse off than me or I'm better than them or I've moved past from that stage. I just think at the end of the day, if you could give some time to people and treat people with respect.
That's really good. Now, on the issue of, moving on to, because at the end of the day, we are trying to network for business. The first meetup has happened. We have caught up. What is the content of our conversation? Because we're trying to run away from every time we're meeting for a coffee and, we're still, kind of chatting, small talk. When do we move on to the thing that will end up having us doing business together? Yep. How do you build up to the deeper conversation instead of the usual coffees all the time?
Yeah, sure. So I would say when you're having a conversation, of course, there's that personal side, rapport, but it's also be straight out about some ideas you have. But it's not about like, talking friend, then all of a sudden, so by the way, I have a business proposal. You just kind of like throwing it out there, like let's say this morning I had a conversation with someone who was in the same business as me. And look, it just feel like maybe there's no synergy right now, but I was just like, just love to get to know how did you start your business? Yeah. And what services do you offer now and what's your plans for the future? And then sometimes they also love to talk about themselves and they don't even ask you at all, but it's okay. I actually come from a place of, I want them to remember this session more than me needing to tell them what I do. So there are conversations. So my number one priority is actually giving them that space and getting to know them. And I promise you, there are some people that forget that it's a get to know each other. Yes. They just talk about, and then by the end of the half an hour that I am on Zoom, I haven't even spoken about myself. But at the end, they're like, oh, I didn't get to ask you about, but it's okay because it's more good for you to know what they do and see how you can help them. It's always about what's in it for them too. So you hear about them and then you could walk away with some ideas like, actually, maybe I could introduce them to someone or maybe, there's something that you can do with them. So it's almost like information gathering for you and spending that time with them.
Right. That's pretty cool. And then how do you maintain a relationship? Say you haven't spoken to somebody, you had your coffee and you brainstorm some ideas and for some reason, maybe a month or two has gone. How do you reconnect and, do your personal CRM with people?
Yes. So one thing I find that it's easier is when you truly come from a place of seeing everyone as people and the friendship and the memories or the experience that you've created. Because then it's less of, oh, I totally forgot about that person. It's like I just remember them out of nowhere. I would always like remember, little things. But of course there are CRM systems that you can put it in more structured and you can remind yourself to touch base with them. But for me, I always just remember like, oh my God, I haven't seen you for a while. Let's catch up. And I kind of, it just naturally pops up in my mind because I generally want to catch up with people. And so this is why it's really important to build your brand online, meaning if you constantly stay online, they will always remember you too. Nowadays, I know a lot more people. And so it's easier for me to actually be creating content to share with everyone. And then for them to also then just go, oh, I remember Lynn for this, remember Lynn for that. Or in conversations, they might refer me to someone else. And so then at the end of the day, the first goal is, yes, it's about who you know. But then the second thing is who actually knows you, because that's even more powerful. Right. Yeah.
So it goes back to it being important for you to put yourself out there.
Yeah. And there's so many ways, if you have the resource and time there's ways to also make your friends and people you meet along way to feel even more special. So there's things called like the send out cards where you can actually send them a personalized card. So for example, you might have had a coffee and it was an amazing experience and you took a photo together maybe. Then you could even go, what's your mailing address? We'd love to send you something, and you send them a personalized card of yourself together and go, it was really great meeting you. And, that will create
an impression.
And if you're inviting that for coffee, maybe just leave the coffee on me, I'll pay for it. It's just little things that you could do to just make them feel like you are generous and care. And
I guess the thing I'm getting from you is, instead of looking at it as a business thing, if in your head you're clearly making a connection with a human being, I think if you go in there with that mind space, you're really gonna go far with it, instead of just being like, oh, it's business. And that way you don't compartmentalize. And that's how you create a meaningful, wholesome relationship with people.
100%. And then that's when it becomes less stressful, or you feel like you have to get something. And then you can also see it as a long-term thing. And you can come in with a very open mind of like, what do you do? How do I do? And you might even end up talking about things that aren't even business related. But the goal of it is to build like and trustability. And then if you post content later about your business, they're like, because even your conversation, they might have forgotten what you even do. But the fact that they like and trust you, and then the next time you post your business service up, they're like, oh, I remember her. She was so nice and she does this now. And so they just connect the two and they end up referring you. So you don't have to treat the meeting as like do a sales presentation and pitch and then try to win the client.
All right. Now, when you go to network, is it specifically for people who might service you, or is this open for everyone? Am I looking for my ideal person to connect with, or could it be everyone who's there? How do I approach this? Am I approaching a specific person, or if a relationship happens and, if it's not too aligned, do I keep it for the future?
So I always see it like you just never know how things turn out, right? Because it could be a business partner that you end up meeting. It could be, a partner of a client. You know what I mean? It's about meeting people and connecting with them, and getting to know them and see if you gel in terms of your personality and your values. And then this is your problem solving skills will come in handy later. Where like, as you're talking to someone and they might end up going, oh, I'm actually looking for a website person. And you're like, actually, I know someone for you. And the fact that you could solve a problem for them, someone else has, got help from you. This person's got help. And then it's almost like you're creating that trust jar. And then the next time, now that they know that you've helped them, it's like one day, I don't know, that conversation could turn into them needing your service later or they know someone else. So I don't necessarily come in with who looks like my client. It doesn't work like that because you just don't know. And if you could treat people with all the same respect and thing, you never know who you're talking to. Someone who looks impoverished could end up being the richest person who knows someone. And someone who looks like they're all like a potential client might be fake.
Be the opposite.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good.
So I'll give you an example that next week I am going to go to a conference on my own and I'm just going to go there like a little girl. How should you be when you're networking? It's that open-minded, curious.
Yeah.
You're just like a girl, coming to the festival,
Yeah.
and you're just curious about what's going on, who do you want to meet, and just let go of that serious and filtering,
Right.
and you just, let's just say you're at a cafe nearby, you just start talking to the next person, and talk to that, and
you do that?
Yeah, you just just have a conversation wherever you may be. Might be in the toilet, might be in the cafe, and then when I usually come to a new event, I do feel like I want to be with someone straight away. Like you want a buddy. Yeah. So most likely the first day I would find maybe a girl that I think seems to be alone with me, or maybe two girls, and it just felt like the right moment. I'll be like, hey, who are you here with? And there might be myself or whoever, like, oh, do you mind if we hang out?
Okay.
Just sure.
Yeah, that's really good. Now, seeing you're going somewhere to this conference, you said.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you come within a group of people, maybe there's 3 of them or 4 of them, not the ones who you're buddying with, what is the first thing you say when you're introducing yourself, and how do you present yourself in those first 2-3 sentences?
Yes.
How do you break the ice of walking into a group that had already people over there?
Yes. So I would say, hi, how are you? Right? And are you guys here together? Right?
Okay.
What's natural? Whatever seems like a natural thing to say next. Are you here together? How do you like it so far? So you're not even talking about anything but the current event, and what do you like so far, or what are you here for? Right. And then they start talking. Then you go, what do you do? They'll ask you, what do you do? And of course, it's always good to be coming up with your little pitch, social pitch. So
social pitch. What is that?
A social pitch is obviously someone's going to go, what do you do? Mm-hmm. So you want to have something to say.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're like, oh, I'm just here and checking it out, right? But obviously, like, I run a business, so I want it to really have a sentence. And this is why it's kind of like a bit of an art form. It's like, you don't want to be too long that they're what do you do? Uh-huh. You want to be short enough that they get. So I actually just wrote one up with my team, and it's like, I own a outsourcing company, and we help business owners to free themselves up from their business, or we help them build a business to run without them. And then they go, oh, really? How? It's like, oh, through automations and virtual assistants. So it's like, but I had to do that too because we were pivoting with our services, and I just wanted to ask the team to come up with, because little words could make a difference. We were coming up with words like, I run a company, but actually running means like I'm still running in the day-to-day, but really I own things. Right. So just having a very crafted pitch means it's easy for you to go bang, right? If you're new to networking, you might as well know what you want to say about yourself and say it with a bang.
Awesome. Now, what would someone who's starting out say? Is it a safe way? What social pitch can you have? Because I don't know, maybe they're networking, they're validating an idea, or, like me who's starting out, I don't have a pitch to be like, I'm running a business or I own a business. And, you don't want to be written off because you don't have a real tangible thing. How do I, make up a social pitch? So
you really have to decide that for yourself in terms of what do you want to position yourself as.
Okay.
So for example, if I didn't have a business and I was writing a book called The Happiest CEO, I'll be maybe making a funny social pitch that's like, oh, people call me the happiest CEO, because I don't know, whatever it is, I really need to craft it out. So it's really about crafting it out and hear whether it makes sense, whether it tells them clearly what you do without confusing them, and position yourself as an authority or credibility for whatever that you're known for. Let's just say you're a proud Christian entrepreneur. You might, I don't know, say I'm a Christian entrepreneur passionate about helping other Christian entrepreneurs to discover something, or I'm on the journey of, I don't know. So it's really, that's why it needs a bit of a craft. And everyone, I can't tell you what to say unless you understand what you do. And especially when I run multiple businesses as well, I really need to think, okay, which pitch am I coming in for? And at the end of the day, video marketing, my other business, is still like, I create a marketing machine, and so that the business owner doesn't have to really be there anymore, and it's still that line is still applicable.
So I think what I got from this little bit you've said that's very valuable is you need to be clear on how you want to place yourself. So I hope you guys are learning as much as I am.
Yeah, so that really answers all the questions around networking, getting yourself out there, and I can't wait for you to network.
You'll be seeing me somewhere. I'll be social pitching somewhere soon.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. And if you have any questions, write in the comments below, and I will see you again next time. Bye.